1. Strategic implications of the critical minerals deal. The agreement between Ukraine and the US over critical minerals is not just an economic contract but a strategic maneuver with far-reaching consequences. Ukraine possesses vast reserves of key minerals like lithium, titanium, and rare earth elements, essential for advanced technologies in aerospace, defense, and nuclear industries. The US, under Trump's leadership, sees this as a golden opportunity to secure a reliable supply chain and reduce dependence on China. However, Ukraine is leveraging these resources as a bargaining chip, ensuring that any deal includes tangible security guarantees. The negotiations reflect a classic geopolitical trade-off: economic investment for military assurance. If Washington commits to long-term economic engagement without firm security pledges, Kyiv risks becoming a supplier rather than a protected ally. The success of this agreement will hinge on whether Ukraine can balance its immediate economic needs with its existential security concerns. 2. Trump's transactional diplomacy and its risks for Ukraine. Trump's approach to foreign policy is transactional, viewing international relations through the lens of deals rather than alliances. By conditioning military support on economic concessions, he is reshaping US-Ukraine relations from a security partnership to a business arrangement. This shift is a stark departure from previous administrations, which emphasized NATO-aligned commitments. For Ukraine, this is both an opportunity and a danger. While economic cooperation could attract long-term US involvement, Trump's unpredictability raises concerns that support could be withdrawn if Kyiv does not meet certain economic conditions. Moreover, if Trump prioritizes economic gains over military assistance, Ukraine may find itself in a precarious position against Russia without guaranteed defense backing. This approach also sends a signal to other US allies that military aid is not assured, potentially weakening the broader Western alliance. 3. Russia's geopolitical advantage and potential responses. Russia is closely monitoring these developments, as any US-Ukraine economic alliance threatens its regional dominance. Moscow is likely to exploit any gaps in US-Ukraine relations, especially if Kyiv does not secure ironclad security commitments. Putin's strategy relies on creating instability in Ukraine while deepening ties with China and other US rivals. If Washington focuses more on economic deals than direct military aid, Russia could intensify its offensives, believing that Ukraine is more vulnerable. Additionally, diplomatic talks between Russia and the US in Istanbul suggest that Moscow is preparing countermeasures, possibly seeking to negotiate an alternative arrangement that undermines Ukraine's position. The Kremlin could also use economic tools, such as cutting off energy supplies or influencing global markets, to weaken both Ukraine and Western economies. 4. The future of US-Ukraine security relations. One of Zelensky's biggest concerns is whether the US will continue its military support. The preliminary agreement states that the US supports Ukraine's efforts to obtain security guarantees, but it does not define concrete commitments. This ambiguity is troubling for Kyiv, which has relied on billions of dollars in American military aid. If the US scales back support or shifts to a pay-to-play model where Ukraine must purchase weapons rather than receive them as aid, it could significantly weaken Ukraine's defense capabilities. The issue of frozen Russian assets is another crucial factor. If the US allows Ukraine to use them, it could provide an alternative funding source for military needs. However, Trump's unpredictability means that even if a deal is signed, its long-term enforcement remains uncertain. Without firm commitments, Ukraine risks being left in limbo, dependent on shifting US political dynamics. 5. Broader implications for NATO and European security. Trump's shifting stance on Ukraine has wider consequences for NATO and European security. If Washington reduces its military commitment to Kyiv, European nations may have to fill the gap, something they have struggled to do at scale. Countries like Poland, Germany, and the UK have supported Ukraine, but their military-industrial capacities are limited compared to the US. Furthermore, Trump's skepticism toward NATO could embolden Russia, leading to a broader recalibration of European defense strategies. If Ukraine is forced into a weaker negotiating position, other Eastern European nations could also feel vulnerable, potentially prompting a new arms race or security realignments. The outcome of the Washington talks will set a precedent for how future conflicts are handled, either reinforcing Western unity or exposing cracks that adversaries like Russia and China can exploit. Conclusion: the upcoming meeting between Trump and Zelenskyy is a defining moment for Ukraine's war effort and the global geopolitical landscape. While the economic deal offers Ukraine potential long-term investment, it lacks the immediate security guarantees Kyiv desperately needs. Trump's transactional diplomacy adds uncertainty, as Ukraine must navigate between economic concessions and military assurances. Russia, meanwhile, is watching closely, ready to capitalize on any sign of US disengagement. The broader implications extend beyond Ukraine, affecting NATO's cohesion and the balance of power in Europe. Whether this deal becomes a milestone in US-Ukraine relations or fades into diplomatic obscurity will depend on the outcome of Friday's talks. If you love deep dives into global politics, breaking news, and no-nonsense analysis, hit that subscribe button now. Belle, what do you think about Trump's Ukraine deal? Is it a smart move or a dangerous gamble? Drop a comment below. Downfinger the red circle, like, share and subscribe. Let's grow this community of sharp political minds. Rocket.